Windsor Council meeting for Tuesday, August the 26th. First thing I'll do is call the meeting to order. And the first order of business, as always, the adoption of the agenda. I look for a mover. Councillor Hiscock, seconded by Councillor Knoll. Any discussion, additions, etc. on the agenda? Hearing none. The agenda is approved. I assume all those in favor. Did I do that? All those in favor? When you didn't have any questions, I just made the assumption, right? Yeah. Now we're going to move on to, we got a proclamation of sorts, I guess, but I'm going to invite a couple gentlemen up here now from the Chamber of Commerce, the Exploits Chamber of Commerce, the Executive Director, Mr. Gary Hennessy, and the President, Mr. Lou Alteen. So if you guys could join me now up front, and we'll talk a little bit about what's going on here.
I thought it was being presented with the Citizen of the Year award. I was misled.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Lou, good to see you. Come on in, Lou. Thank you. So these gentlemen are here this evening because the council and the chamber are entering into a agreement or a partnership of sorts in which the town has agreed to pay for the first-year members who decide to become members in the future into the Chamber of Commerce, businesses that are within Grand Falls-Windsor, of course. And that is going to be in effect start of 2026, and it'll go right till the end of 2030. Yep. So I'll ask you guys now if maybe you want to have something to say, one or both of you.
Well, from the Chamber's perspective, we're trying to bring the members in. I think the Chamber's been a little dormant the last 4 or 5 years. And so we're trying to increase our profile by bringing the members in, but also bringing some value to the membership. And I guess an incentive, which other chambers in our province do, is working with partnerships with municipalities to support the chambers by looking after dues for a year, usually the first year, that sort of thing. So this is a wonderful opportunity for us. We really appreciate what the town is doing for us.
Yeah, no, it's our pleasure for sure. I mean, we all got the same goal. We always say that, in terms of the Grand Falls-Windsor doing better. And I know you guys, you got the district as a whole, but really, let's face it, everything in the district really impacts everyone. Yeah, especially the positive things. So we're happy to do that. And I'm going to ask Lou now if he would sit as president and sign the agreement. I'm going to take his picture. Gary's
We can take a chair if you want to get in the picture.
Right there, Lou, when you're ready. Right there. And Robin's gonna want to get a picture, I guess, or Steve or someone. That's a lot of hair, guys.
Smile, Gary.
Perfect. Well, again,
Thank you,
guys,
gentlemen.
thanks. Keep up the good work.
Appreciate it.
Obviously, I know the town and the chamber, again, with the same interests, want to be one together, and the door's always open there, as you know, and I know the opposite is true as well. So thanks for coming in this evening. We really
Thanks,
appreciate it. Look forward to a successful venture in this regard.
Let's
You
hope.
get
Let's hope
a
we
lot
use
of
it
new
all.
members from it.
Yes, absolutely.
Thanks. Thanks, Gary. Thank you.
Thanks, folks.
Yeah.
Our communications officer, Robin Poor, she got to be in 2 places at one time, it seems. She's fast. Okay, we'll move on now to the adoption of the minutes from the meeting of July 15th. Mover and a seconder. Councillor Dwyer moves, second by Councillor Little. Any discussion on the previous meeting's minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary-minded? Motion passed. Any business arising out of the minutes? No business arising. We will move on into community services, first economic development. And we have one item there to discuss, and I'm thinking that is you, Deputy Mayor, for this one. Well, you can go ahead when you're ready, sir.
Thank you. The information note is with respect to community recruitment and retention in healthcare. And the town of Grand Falls-Windsor has been granted $10,000 through the Community Recruitment and Retention Incentive Program, an initiative led by the Government of Newfoundland and Labrador, Department of Health and Community Services. This funding will direct support strategies aimed at attracting and retaining healthcare professionals within the community. And Mr. Mayor, the Community Services Department functions as a central point for community ambassadors. These ambassadors are dedicated to integrating new healthcare professionals into Grand Falls-Windsor. So an important step and an important $10,000 to help with that cause. And they will be connected with the local networks and interest-based groups, and the town's initiatives are closely aligned with both the Welcome Home Toolkit and the Health Accord, Newfoundland Labrador Health Accord, reinforcing the Department of Health and Community Services 2023 to 2026 strategic plan, with a special focus on population health, recruitment, and retention. And the town recognizes the significant challenges faced by Newfoundland and Labrador in competing for healthcare talent on a global scale. Now, with that $10,000, we will use it to retain and attract healthcare professionals through river rafting, visits to the Salmonoid Information Center, educational initiatives through the Halibut First Nation to explore history, culture, and traditions, nature hikes, and introduction to all the town's sporting activities such as curling, skating, snowshoeing, and skiing. And efforts will be made to raise awareness among the new arrivals and inform local residents about newcomers with the goal of fostering, welcoming, and inclusive interactions. Collaboration with the Newfoundland Labrador Health Services in Grand Falls-Windsor will facilitate the tracking of new arrivals, documentation of experiences, and identification of community needs and gaps. And we'll try to do this from this month forward to March 31st, 2026. So thank you very much, Mayor.
That's good news. Obviously, as people are aware, most people, the town has been doing this really for the last 8 or 9 years, I guess, for sure. I know Stan Singh has been involved in that as an employee, and others as well. And the Health Coalition was involved in that, and Councillor Dwyer. But really, there's so much that the town can do, but there's a lot more that needs to be done, of course. But by doing our part, and thus far we've been able to get away with little investment and doing a lot. And that's just meeting with new doctors, prospective doctors, meeting with medical learners in their first year. We do that. You know, they usually walk away with a swag bag of some Grand Falls-Windsor gear. And we've had events, of course, for the doctors, for their families, for the activities we've set up for socials and that sort of thing. And it's so important because really quality of life is where it's at these days. That's what I'm told by doctors, particularly, is that they want the facilities that are going to allow them to be active. They want the programs and events for their kids to be able to take part in. And we know our community does a good job in that with all the organizations and support. So it's great to see that we got a little boost in that, and we can use that because they love river rafting and the I was going to say bungee jumping then, but zip lining, not yet. Bungee jumping one of these years. But yeah, so it's great to get that little boost and be able to put some money into that again. Any other comments on that information note? No? Okay, we shall move on. Next up is Community Services, Recreation and Events, and we've got an information note. Councillor Little, when you're ready, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Community Services Department has some holiday events and activities and special community partnerships carried out during the spring and summer season to show how active we've been in promoting these partnerships in our community. Some of the activities have included, and there's a lot of them, I just picked 8. The Hike for Hospice, which we supported, where we're supporting the fundraiser for Lionel Kellan Hospice, which has been a huge success in our community, and we're an envy of many communities having that facility, and it takes a lot of support from everyone in town to keep that facility going. EVI Sports Day, EVH cap and gown plus graduation, the Habitat for Humanity groundbreaking ceremony, the Relay for Life, which was held at EVH, the EVH Drama Club and their drama festival, various Special Olympics events. There's one in particular, slips my mind now, but all their events we typically support, even from their bocce ball weekly right up till their bigger events. Jay's Care Day, which was a huge success. I think Stephanie Butler led that this time. Danielle LeDrew in the past has been led it, but this year was Stephanie Butler, and a young person in our community is doing great things. And from what I'm told, is very young in her teaching career, but it's been very successful so far, and it shows through this. The Community Service Department continues to play a key role in helping to provide quality programs and services through partnerships within the community. This is carried out through the use of staff, facilities, and equipment to provide the safest and most enjoyable experience for all residents and guests, and to provide support to any group where possible. And this lends to what you were just saying about this recruitment, quality of life. These are things people want to see. They don't want to live in they don't want to come to a community where they're just shut in. And that's how we lose professionals, particularly if they're not from here. If we want to get people that aren't from here to move here and be a part of our community, we need to offer these things, and we're doing a good job of it, and we'll continue to do so. Thank you.
Or one thing I've said many times, and others here have as well, is that what we're talking about here is something we can control, and that's rare in this. As we know, you usually run into roadblocks with control or permits required or permission or funding from government sources, etc. So to be able to do a good job on the programs and events and to support these events, like Councillor Little listed off 8, but he could have done 108, I'm sure, in the last while, is great. Any other comments on that? No? Okay, we'll move on. Next up is Public Works and Development, and it's Councillor Dwyer. We do have an information note there as well.
Thank you, Mayor. We've reviewed the results of the Household Hazardous Waste Day, which was held on May the 10th, and it was very successful, busy. We had 1,000-liter tote of oil, 3 paint tubs, battery drums, propane cages, 2 D-pack containers, a propane drum, an aerosol drum. So it was busy. It cost the town $2,976, but certainly well worth it, as it aligns with, in line with our budget, but also aligns with our strategic goals in terms of stewardship and waste management, and certainly provides our residents with a service that is very valued. So the next Household Hazardous Waste Day is, you mentioned Stephanie Butler and the Jay's Day. It's on Stephanie Butler's birthday, October 18th this year, so I won't forget it. Hopefully you won't either. Thank you.
That's great service, and we do see sometimes, in the hundreds, numbers of people dropping by with small things, big things alike, so it's great to know that that's going to continue. Any other comments on that? Stephanie Butler, by the way, I think she worked 6 years at Corduroy Brook during her summers as a student, and she was definitely awesome there, so I'm not surprised that she's doing great things as a teacher. Public Works and Development, Planning and Development, and the first thing up is a decision note, and I'll ask Councillor Hiscock if you would deal with that, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Council's direction is requested to approve the relocation of the Chow Place street name to a new cul-de-sac area off of Main Street, and to assign a replacement name for the existing Chow Place roadway. And I propose that council approve the relocation of the Chow Place street name to the new cul-de-sac off Main Street, and further approve renaming the current Chow Place to 6th Place.
Moved by Councillor Hiscock, second by Councillor Knoll. Any discussion? Councillor Hiscock?
Yes, Mayor. This matter was brought forward by yourself a while ago, who noted that the naming of the new cul-de-sac on Main Street as Chow Place would be more appropriate, as it better reflects the area where Mr. Chow lived and operated for many years. The relocation of the name preserves the historic recognition while aligning it geographically with Mr. Chow's former residence and business location.
Yep, thank you for that. Any other discussion on that? It was great to see you to get support on that. I know the Chow family would be happy, and a lot of people who have stepped up and talked about that as well. And in this case, we were fortunate enough that, and it's probably one of the reasons why we wanted to move it as well. It's such a small street that we're talking about, now sixth place, that it inconvenienced little to nobody. So if you change the name of a big street, you usually have big inconveniences, but in this case, we didn't have to do that. And I look forward to seeing the Chow Place and being able to see that as you drive down Main Street and near the old Globe Restaurant, for those who remember. Okay, any other discussion on that? If not, we've got a mover and a seconder. All those in favor? Contrary-minded? Motion carried. Next up is another decision note. Councillor Hiscock, you're going to be busy tonight, so you can go ahead when you're ready, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Council approval is required to proceed with the final approval of Municipal Plan Amendment Number 16, 2025, and Development Regulations Amendment Number 21, 2025, following completion of the public hearing process and receipt of the Commissioner's report. And I propose that Council adopts the recommendation of the Commissioner's report from Municipal Plan Amendment Number 16, 2025, and Development Regulations Amendment Number 21, 2025, prepared by Dan Noseworthy of LW Consultants, dated August 13, 2025. Under the authority of Section 23 of the Urban and Rural Planning Act 2000, the Town Council of Grand Falls-Windsor approves Amendment Number 16, 2025 to the Town of Grand Falls-Windsor Municipal Plan as recommended in the Commissioner's report dated August 13, 2025. Under the authority of Section 23 of the Urban and Rural Planning Act 2000, the Town Council of Grand Falls-Windsor approves Amendment Number 21, 2025 to the Town of Grand Falls-Windsor Development Regulations as recommended in the Commissioner's report dated August 13, 2025.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Hiscock, seconded by Councillor Dwyer. Any discussion on that, Councillor Hiscock? You want to go first?
Yes, Mayor. The town proposes to redesignate and rezone an area of land between Tulip Drive, as near Queensway, and Ogilvy Street to allow for high-density, multi-unit residential development, helping address housing availability and affordability while using existing municipal services.
Yep. So anybody else have a comment on that particular one? I'll just say, the area we're talking about, of course, is near the Queensway SO, I guess, off Tulip Drive, near the apartments there, and in between the apartments that are there facing Tulip Drive and the graveyard. And, I know there's some that are not fussy about that, and sometimes we're going to get that anyways. But, when I hear people talk about all the land that's available in town to develop or go elsewhere, I'm here to tell you that's not the case. There really isn't a lot of land available to us because when you consider ownership and, maybe remediation requirements or zoning requirements, there's all kinds of things that prohibit us from using any land that we want. And in this case, as Councillor Hiscock noted, to be able to have development in our town and be able to hook to existing municipal services makes it a lot less expensive project and a lot more attractive for developers to come forward with a proposal. And that is exactly what would happen here. It's not a done deal, like we've said lots of times. It's a changing of the zoning, and if it goes through, it gives us the ability to use that land for that purpose, and the developers then would be able to come forward with proposals, and in some cases, we may even put out our own RFPs. Any other discussion? Yeah, Councillor Little.
Sorry. This is relating to area town too. There was, at a public hearing, there's quite a few people turned out for that one. One of the things they identified as a problem they felt with it was the way the road was being punched through to Ogilvy. And since then, our public works staff has identified a way they can turn that into a cul-de-sac and actually that would result in more lots than what would actually be there. So, you know, it was great that people turned out because it, you know, put the idea of cul-de-sac there, which allowed us to actually make, you know, solve the problem for them, but also create more opportunity for us. So it was really good to get that feedback, and hopefully, it, you know, works out for us and someone develops that land and we're all good.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because I had neglected to do so. And it does eliminate a lot of people's concerns by not having that thoroughfare, right? Any other comments on that? Okay, we got a mover and a seconder. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary-minded? Motion carried. Next up, decision note 9.3. Again, Councillor Hiscock, when you're ready.
Thank you, Mayor. Council approval is requested to authorize staff to commence the amendment process for Development Regulation Amendment Number 26, 2025, in accordance with the Urban and Rural Planning Act 2000. And I propose that Council approve staff to commence the amendment process for Development Regulations Amendment Number 26, 2025, and proceed in accordance with the requirements of the Urban and Rural Planning Act 2000.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Hiscock, second by Deputy Mayor Brown. Councillor Hiscock, did you want to go lead discussion?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. Yeah, the town's current development regulations 2022-2032 include limitations on industrial light zone, accessory uses, and general development standards that no longer reflect the operational realities of some industrial users. Amendment number 26, 2025 proposes the following key changes. The definition of industrial light is updated to include temporary short-term accommodations, for example, dormitory or hostel-style housing for employees or contractors directly tied to the principal use, flexibility to permit offices accessory to the primary use to be located elsewhere on the lot, not necessarily within the principal building. And the accessory employees residential definition is expanded to allow for both a dwelling unit within the principal building for one employee and temporary accommodation for staff or contractors engaged in the industrial operation, including outside of the principal building where appropriate. And the IL zone conditions of use are revised to remove the restrictions requiring accessory offices to be within the principal structure and to add a new clause regulating the temporary residential accommodations permitted in this zone. And the general regulations of accessory buildings, section 7.5.1, are clarified to specify that height restrictions, i.e. maximum 6 meters and not exceeding the height of the principal building, apply only in residential zones.
Okay, thanks for that. Any other discussion, comment on that item? I guess the only thing I'll add is that, you know, it just goes to show again how you had to be flexible. And we're seeing that a lot in terms of having to change zoning at times to be able to accommodate things that are good for the community. The unfortunate part, I guess, is that the process is often a long one. So, you know, we've been, I don't know if tangled is the right word, but we've been involved in some zoning, rezoning requests now and have been in the past for years at times. So it's something that needs to be done, and we do it, and we're trying to get ahead of it now, of course, to be able to do it so it can be accommodated for potential development. And we know a lot of people are looking to do things here, to build. Anything else? No? Okay, we got a mover and a seconder. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary-minded? Motion passed. Okay, you are up again for another decision note. Councillor Hiscock, when you're ready.
Thank you, Mayor. Council approval is requested to initiate the amendment process for MPA-18 and DRA-23 to modify the use class of residential care within the town's municipal plan and development regulations. And I propose that council approve staff to initiate the amendment process for MPA-18 and DRA-23 to allow residential care as a discretionary use in select commercial and residential zones, and to change residential care from a permitted to a discretionary use in the rural residential RR-1 zone.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Hiscock, second by Councillor Noel. Any discussion on that, Councillor Hiscock?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. The town is proposing to amend its Integrated Community Sustainability Municipal Plan 2022-2032 and associated development regulations to respond to the evolving definition of role of residential care facilities as outlined in DRA-25. Now, some of the key elements of the proposed amendment include adding residential care as a discretionary use in commercial general, commercial highway, commercial neighborhood, commercial downtown, residential RM1, and residential, and RM2, changing residential care from a permitted use to a discretionary use in the rural residential RR1 zone.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion on that? No? Well, I'll just add, I guess, just for further explanation, you know, residential care is something that happens, of course, in all communities, and Central Health often have houses in the community which they use for residential care. There's private companies that have properties in the town where they would use for residential care. And up till this point, the town was never notified about anything because we didn't have to be. We had no say. We couldn't, you know, try to prevent any potential problems. You know, with these residential care houses, there's obviously a need for them. I mean, you have to integrate them into your community, but at the same time, there has to be a balance with the quality of life for people, and if there's something that may disturb that, I think it's council's responsibility through the discretionary process to be able to point that out and hopefully, you know, do things to be able to fend off some future problems. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary-minded? Motion carried. Decision note 9.5. Councillor Hiscock, when you're ready, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Council approval is required to adopt a municipal plan amendment number 15, 2024, and development regulations amendment number 20, 2024, following the selection or the Section 15 release from the Department of Municipal Affairs and Community Engagement under the Urban and Rural Planning Act 2000. And I propose, under the authority of Section 16 of the Urban and Rural Planning Act 2000, the Town Council of Grand Falls-Windsor adopts amendment number 15, 2024, to the Town of Grand Falls-Windsor's Municipal Plan, and amendment number 20, 2024, to the Town of Grand Falls-Windsor's Development Regulations 2022 and 2032.
Okay, thank you once again. Okay, we got a proposed mover in Councillor Hiscock. I'll look for a seconder. Councillor Little, any discussion on that item?
Thank you, Mayor. The Department of Municipal Affairs and Community Engagement has completed its Section 15 review and formally released the amendments on August the 5th, 2025. Council may now proceed to adopt both amendments under Section 16 of the Act. These amendments are required to facilitate the Sprucewood Estates subdivision, a proposed 173-unit mixed residential development on lands located behind the Golden Years Seniors Home and extending towards the Trans-Canada Highway. The amendments will redesignate the area from Comprehensive Development Area Residential, CDA-R, to Urban Residential to the Municipal Plan and rezone it to the low and medium density multi-unit residential RM1 zone under the development regulations.
Okay, again, it's up for discussion. Anybody else? No? Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary-minded? Motion carried. Next up, decision note number 9.6. When you're ready again there, Councillor Hiscock, please.
Thank you, Mayor. The Municipal Plan Amendment number 9, 2024, and Development Regulations Amendment number 13, 2024, requires formal adoption by Council following the release by the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Community Engagement in accordance with the Urban and Rural Planning Act 2000. And I propose, under the authority of Section 16 of the Urban and Rural Planning Act 2000, the Town Council of Grand Falls-Windsor adopts Municipal Plan Amendment number 9, 2024, and Development Regulations Amendment number 13, 2024, to the Town of Grand Falls, Windsor's Municipal Plan and Development Regulations 2022-2032.
Okay, thank you. It's been moved by Councillor Hiscock. Seconded by Deputy Mayor Brown. Any discussion? Again, Councillor Hiscock, you on the lead?
Yep, thank you, Mayor. Municipal Plan Amendment Number 9, 2024, Development Regulations Amendment Number 13, 2024, were developed to facilitate the repurposing of former commercial and civic buildings for higher density residential use. The amendments apply to several zones, including commercial general, commercial neighborhood, commercial highway, and commercial downtown and public use.
Okay, it's been moved by, oh, sorry, any other discussion, I should say? I'll never get used to this new process. Any other discussion on that one? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary-minded? Motion passed. And Councillor Hiscock, you're up again, 9.7, decision note.
Thank you, Mayor. Council is asked to consider a variance request submitted by Habitat for Humanity NL for the property located at 19.5 Riverview Road. The request seeks to reduce the minimum rear yard setback requirement by 0.34 meters to allow for construction of a duplex dwelling. And I propose that Council approve the variance request under Regulation 11 of the Town of Grand Falls-Windsor Development Regulations to allow a rear yard setback reduction of 0.34 meters at 19.5 Riverview Road to support the construction of a duplex dwelling by Habitat for Humanity NL.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Hiscock, seconded by Councillor Little. Councillor Hiscock, if you want to lead the discussion.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, the Department of Public Works and Development received a variance application relating to the construction of the duplex at 19.5 Riverview Road. The proposed development will result in an encroachment of 0.34 meters into the required 7.5 meter rear yard setback. And as per Regulation 11 of Development Regulations, notice of the variance was provided to property owners in the immediate vicinity on July 24th, 2025. The response deadline was August 7th, 2025, and no objections were received during the public notification period, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you for that. Any other comments or discussion on that decision note? Okay, we had a mover and a seconder. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary-minded? Motion carried. And decision note 9.8. Councillor Hiscock, when you're ready, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Council's decision is required on whether to adopt Municipal Plan Amendment Number 19, 2025, and Development Regulations Amendment Number 24, 2025, as released from provincial review under Section 15 of the Urban and Rural Planning Act 2000. And I propose, under the authority of Section 16 of the Urban and Rural Planning Act 2000, the Town Council of Grand Falls-Windsor adopts Amendment Number 19, 2025 to the Grand Falls-Windsor Integrated Community Sustainability Municipal Plan 2022-2032. Under the authority of Section 16 of the Urban and Rural Planning Act 2000, the Town Council of Grand Falls-Windsor adopts Amendment Number 24, 2025 to the Grand Falls-Windsor Development Regulations 2022 and 2032.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Hiscock. It's been moved by Councillor Hiscock, seconded by Councillor Dwyer. And once again, Councillor Hiscock, would you lead the discussion?
Thank you, Mayor. The town has received provincial release for MPA 19 and DRA 24, allowing council to proceed with formal adoption. These amendments relate to a proposed high-density residential development at 109 Lincoln Road, which is anticipated to provide 50 to 60 new housing units consisting of 1 and 2 bedroom apartments. The development aligns with recommendations in the Hart Community Housing Report 2024 and responds directly to the identified need for affordable housing in the town.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments on that? No. Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary-minded? Motion carried. Okay, we have an information note. Once again, Councillor Hiscock, when you're ready, please.
Thank you, Mayor. This is just an information note with regards, Mr. Mayor, of we needed some more names for new streets. And as part of the established process first detailed in the March 26, 2025 information note, each member of council submitted a rank list of 10 proposed streets names. Points were awarded based on rank. And Mayor, it came in at, I'm reading from number 1 to 10, Mr. Mayor. Brain, Fewer, Quilliam, Morris, Grimes, Connors, Hillier, Arkley, Naftal, and Pelly are the next 10 names, Mayor, that will be used in our new streets and new subdivisions.
Thank you, and we certainly hope as time goes on here now and all these rezoning things take effect, that we can get more streets into town, and I suspect that will be the case. Okay, any other comments on that information note? No, okay, we'll move on to 9.10, and that's yourself, Councillor Dwyer, when you're ready.
Thank you, Mayor. Council reviewed operational highlights and key work that were completed by the Public Works and Development Division for the first half of this year. And the report highlights work completed in terms of water and sewer, street and infrastructure maintenance, and parks operations. Some of the key highlights include 62 plugged sewer calls in the first half of the year, 28 water leaks, 12 main break repairs, 68 curb stops located, 46 curb stop repairs, and more than 200 meters of water and sewer lines, including new service connections, completed in terms of water and sewer. In terms of street and infrastructure maintenance, we had asphalt patching at 2,001 square meters. In terms of signage, we had 4 street signs, 51 regulatory signs, and 29 sign posts. Concrete works and paint were similar to last year. Park operations, in terms of landscaping, we had 1,402 square feet of topsoil seed and only 9.5 square feet of sods used. Is that correct? Okay, so that's within the parks. Right. Regular park operations, regular maintenance on soccer and baseball fields, and renovations ongoing at the development division of the town hall, and of course preparing stadiums for the upcoming season is always keeps that department busy. So we are within budget, and we're preparing to get the stadiums ready for the winter season for sure. It is nonstop. I'd really like to thank the employees and also the students who were working with this department over the summer. I know some parents of students, and they really enjoyed their time. Some of them have been back year after year and have developed a lot of skills, and hopefully be able to use that in their future endeavors. Thank you.
Yeah, there's always a double positive there, when you get the students working in the summer for the town and also benefiting from it themselves. Okay, any other comments on the Public Works report? Hearing none? Well, almost did it, didn't I? Information note that was. Doesn't even say, trying to trip me up. Next up, 9.11, we're back to Councillor Hiscock again for another decision note. Councillor Hiscock, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Council direction is requested on proceeding with partial road construction to support initial housing development on the Main Street West subdivision. And I propose that council approve the construction of the cul-de-sac off Main Street to service the first 3 lots of the proposed multi-unit development, enabling the construction of up to 12 residential units.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Hiscock, seconded by Councillor Little. And again, Councillor Hiscock, I'll ask you to lead the discussion, please.
Thank you, Mayor. The town issued an expression of interest for a 40-unit residential subdivision off Main Street near Tula Drive. Despite engineering incentives and a comprehensive package provided to the proponents with the expression of interest, with no formal submissions. Given the lack of interest from the development community, staff recommended that the town proceed with constructing a portion of the subdivision to help stimulate private builder involvement. Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, no, it's, I assume that would be monies from the Housing Accelerator Fund that we would use for a project like that. And that's exactly what that fund is for, is to try to spur development. And I don't need to tell anybody here or anybody who may be watching that prices have gone up significantly. And one of the challenges now, of course, is to find developers who are, looking at a bottom line of a proposed development and whether it's worth their while or not. So being able to do these things and put in the infrastructure ourselves to a degree and give a little boost and some savings is a great thing. And I think that will make a difference when it comes to people interested, which is what we want. Any other comments on that? Okay. We got a mover and a seconder. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Okay, 9.12. Councillor Hiscock, decision note.
Thank you, Mayor. Council direction is required on whether to support or oppose the Crown land application submitted for the extension of the property at 374 Grimple Heights. And I propose that Council not support Crown land application number 164355 as submitted, but is prepared to support a reduced parcel not exceeding 15.24 meters, 50 feet in depth from the rear property line, consistent with adjacent lot extensions and subject to appropriate zoning and planning considerations.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Hiscock, second by Councillor Knoll. And again, Councillor Hiscock, we're using your voice tonight, buddy.
Thank you, Mayor. An application was submitted to acquire approximately 0.18 hectares of Crown land to the rear of 374 Grimple Heights for the purpose of constructing a seasonal storage shed, installing a greenhouse for personal use, and parking space for an enclosed trailer and a travel trailer. And this land, Mr. Mayor, is land that we have designated for future development. And if this land goes back 200 feet, it's actually going to encroach on our proposed development area. But we're not against the homeowner extending, but a couple of homeowners have. So what we want to do is extend it back to the boundary that the other homeowners have, so we can square off that piece of land, Mr. Mayor.
Yep, exactly. Thanks for that explanation. Any other discussion or comments on that? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. 9.13, decision note, Councillor Hiscock.
Thank you, Mayor.
Please.
Council direction is requested to initiate a rezoning amendment at 1 St. Catherine Street to accommodate development of a new medical facility and supporting residential uses. And I propose that council approve the rezoning of the portion of property at 1 St. Catherine Street currently zoned public use and residential medium density RM-1 to commercial neighborhood CN to support the development of a family care team medical facility and the proportion of the property along Lind Avenue currently zoned public use to residential medium density RM-1 to allow for future residential development.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Hiscock, seconded by Deputy Mayor Brown. And when you're ready, Councillor Hiscock.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, Marine Contractors Incorporated has submitted a request to rezone the former Millcrest Academy site to enable the development of a family care team medical center and a series of residential units. Conceptual plans include a modern clinic fronting St. Catherine Street and a new residential dwellings fronting Lind Avenue.
Yep, thank you. And of course, that's big news for us, having, been head and shoulders into the family care team and everything else healthcare in the last 4 years. So we hope that this can proceed as quickly as possible, and marine contractors who were successful bidders in the tender process to start construction of what will be a beautiful facility. And, everybody I've talked to who've had the benefit of using the family care team as their physician services, medical services, has said nothing but great things about their experience, and how, some people are going to see a doctor in the morning and they're getting a call in the afternoon that they need to go and do physio or some other measure. And that's exactly the efficiencies that we need. And the big thing is, of course, as always, and it goes back to the recruitment and retention, is that capacity of physicians, nurse practitioners, and the like is so important to that. But it's great to see that that building and that land, I guess, more appropriately said, is going to see that family care team come to fruition.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, it's going to be a one-stop shop type thing. Everything's under one room, all under one roof, and it's going to be ultra-modern. It's going to be just state-of-the-art building. It's going to be definitely a crown in our community, Mr. Mayor.
Yep, no, very much needed. Any other comments or discussion? No? Okay. I got a call for a vote. Oh, okay. All those in favor of the motion and seconder for that rezoning, say aye. Aye. Contrary minded. Motion carried. I feel like a machine or something here. That's not functioning properly, obviously. Rezoning request, another decision note, and looks like the last one under this category for you, Councillor Hiscock. When you're ready, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Council's direction is requested on proceeding with a zoning amendment to rezone a portion of land east of Redcliffe located at the western boundary of Grand Falls-Windsor from conservation, CON, and rural, RUR, to rural residential, RR-1, to accommodate future residential development. And I propose that council approve the initiation of a rezoning process for a portion of land located east of Redcliffe at the western boundary of Grand Falls-Windsor, currently zoned as conservation, CON, and rural, RUR, to the rezone to rural residential, RR-1, for the purpose of facilitating future residential development.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Hiscock, seconded by Councillor Knoll. And once again, Councillor Hiscock, if you would, please.
Thank you, Mayor. The Department of Public Works and Development received a request to rezone a section of land east of Redcliffe, positioning at the town's western boundary for the purpose of residential development. The area question spans across two existing zoning designations, conservation, CON, and rural, RUR. The intent is to rezone the full area to rural residential, RR1, to support low-density residential development. This zoning is more appropriate for the intended use and will allow for potential subdivision and construction in a rural residential context. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Yeah, this is, it basically came about because there's a gentleman who owns property in question and wants to develop it to residential, as was his plan, I think, for many years and decades, but learned that the zoning didn't allow for that. So council has decided to change that zoning on that portion of land so that the construction and housing and that he plans to build in the future can continue, and it'll be within our boundary. Any other discussion? Yeah?
Yeah, the only thing
Mr.
I'll
Fan.
add, Mr. Mayor, is that council is approving to initiate the process of rezoning.
Right.
And the decision to rezone is not actually occurring tonight, but council is approving, well, once you vote, to initiate the process, like many of the other amendments. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, thanks for clarifying that.
you're welcome.
Okay, any other comment on that? No? Okay, we got a mover and a seconder. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Okay, we will move into corporate services. The first item is disbursement report. Councillor Cody, when you're ready, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I present the disbursement report for August 26, 2025. The information note is prepared by staff and reviewed by council, which provides a summary of disbursements over $1,000 as of August 26, 2025, in the amount of $1,770,175.25.
Okay, thank you for that report. Any discussion on the disbursement report? Hearing none, we'll move on to the next item, another information note. When you're ready, Councillor Cody, please.
Thank you. Just making sure I'm on the right item here. Yes, yep. Tax receivable analysis, July of 2025. So the summary of taxation receivables for council review. Our discussion, the information note is prepared by staff, reviewed by council, which provides a summary of taxation receivables of July 31st, 2025. The total taxation receivable amounts is $6,226,505, which is an increase of $1,127,483, or 22.11% compared to the previous year. This account's receivable aging shows that 72% of the receivables are current, with the remaining amounts spread across 1 year, 2 years, and 3+ years. Monthly collections for July amounted to $955,092, which is 13% of the total accounts receivable. Staff have been utilizing water shutoffs and sending reminder statements to residents and businesses who have yet to pay off their balances. Please contact the Town Hall at 489-0402, 0403, or 0404 with any questions about your tax bill. The budget and financial implications. The total tax revenue for 2025 increased by approximately 12%, and this impacts the outstanding balance. As of July 2025, amounts on a payment plan increased by $522,822 compared to the prior year. The majority of these balances will be paid off by December, while some payment plans are spread over a couple of years. The total outstanding relating to a payment plan at July of 2025 is $2,935,605, 47% of the total outstanding receivable. Management will continue to monitor taxation receivables and report updates at future meetings.
Okay, thanks for that. Any other comments on taxation? Councillor, well, you go ahead first.
No, I'll
Okay,
close out. I just-
go ahead, Councillor Dwyer.
I'll just say that it is concerning. The receivables amount increasing like that is very concerning. We don't want to see that number increasing as it has been. And water shutoffs are obviously something that we don't want to have to resort to, but in today, it's difficult to contact people by telephone with cell phones and people not having, regular phones. We can knock on their doors, but they don't necessarily have to answer. Sometimes these are rentals and people are living out of province. It is difficult. So, having to resort to water shutoffs is a drastic measure, but one that we have to take in order to collect this money. We only have a $20 million budget, and when you're talking about receivables, taxes that are not being paid, it is serious.
And sign of the times too, I believe, obviously, and unfortunately, we got a lot of people, not only in this community, but everywhere these days that are hurting with the inflationary costs and the cost of living increases and everything else that goes with it. But as Councillor Cody had talked about in the end of her comments was these payment plans. So anybody who does have outstanding taxes, the town is always open to working with you. Everybody's situation is different, and certainly we will always be as understanding as we can be and help people in any way we can to make sure that we can achieve the taxes being paid, of course, and in the easiest way possible for that individual. But as Councillor Dwyer said, the shutoffs are something that none of us want to do, but obviously in order to get people's attention, sometimes that's what we have to do. Councillor Cody?
Thank you. Yeah, and just to elaborate on that a little bit, I mean, we did expect that our receivables would go up as there was a tax increase last year, but not to this extent. And like Councillor Dwyer and you, Mayor, have mentioned, we want to assist our residents in whatever way we can, and payment plans are an option. Of course, we're going to sit down with you and review it and come up, it has to be a reasonable payment plan as well, for the individual, but also for the town of Grand Falls-Windsor, to make sure that we are receiving and collecting these taxes on a timely basis, instead of small amounts being paid and really the balance not clearing up because new taxes are being added onto older balances. We have spoken about collection agencies. The water shutoffs is one way we can collect water taxes and outstanding taxes. To take the route of a collection agency, again, there's a fee incurred by the town to work with a collection agency. So while we would probably be collecting some of those taxes, a majority of those taxes would be going to pay the collection agency, that this task would have been assigned to. And I don't think anybody likes the tactics used by collection agencies. We understand that these are sensitive times for our residents, and we don't want to put them under any, hardship or have to put up with those intimidating telephone calls. They're just nasty. And that's their job. They're paid to collect, and they, use the tactics that they have relied on to be successful in collecting those taxes. So, if you are in arrears, or if we have reached out to you, please call us, come into the town hall, we'll set up some private time. Council is not involved in the meeting. We don't need to know whose taxes are outstanding or who's come in to make those arrangements. They'll come in and meet privately. We have an own little office set aside, particularly to meet with our residents, where you can do this privately and securely, and nobody needs to know. And we'll work with you and we'll help you get through this. But again, our taxation is what we use to deliver services to our residents. And if we have to cut services because we're not collecting, then, that's an issue for everybody. So again, we'll work with you, reach out to us, and hopefully, we'll change this around sooner rather than later.
No, thank you. And I guess last thing I'll say is, it's not like we're open to everybody having these payment plans. It's just if the need is there. Like I said, everybody's predicament is different. And if someone comes in here and they can prove that their circumstances warrant the action of allowing a payment plan, then our staff will determine that and will proceed with one. But I don't mean to say that we're going out and telling everybody that they can come down and set up a payment plan with the town, but it's an option for everybody for sure. So again, the numbers are 0402, 0403, 0404, 489. Okay. All right. I assume that's all the conversation on that. Okay, we'll move on to a decision note, which is a open call for bids on the tennis court resurfacing. Councillor Cody, please.
Thank you. So it's an open call for bids summary, 2025-RFP-04. Council's decision is required to award the resurfacing of the tennis courts in Grand Falls-Windsor. And the resolution is that council award the open call for bids related to the tennis court resurfacing to Tennis Constructions Limited in the amount of $101,199 plus HST.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Cody, seconded by Councillor Hiscock. Councillor Cody, do you want to have further explanation?
Some information. So the tennis courts in Grand Falls-Windsor, we all know, are overdue for an upgrade. There's been a tennis program revived last year and continued again this year that was very successful. You know, a nice bit of uptake on that, and the interest is definitely there. And of course, with the growing interest in pickleball, these courts will also be used for pickleball as well. And I know there will be a lot of people very happy about that, because we see the use of the pickleball court at the Lincoln Road basketball courts. So this is certainly welcome. Let's see. The tennis courts, it was proposed by staff to complete the work in 2025 along with the basketball court resurfacing during the budget process in the fall of 2024, but it was decided at the time to only complete the basketball court resurfacing and leave the tennis courts until 2026. Throughout the year, staff became aware of funding through Tennis Canada, and the town was successful in obtaining a grant in the amount of $100,000 to complete the work in 2025. There will be an additional amount included in the 2026 budget as a requirement of this project relating to signage, new nets, and landscaping. The resurfacing cost for 2025 will be $105,536 net of the HST rebate. Funding from Tennis Canada will cover $100,000 of this amount. So the recommendation is to award the project to Tennis Construction Limited in the amount, again, of $101,199 plus HST.
Yep, pretty good deal. Any other discussion or comment on that? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Okay, we have another information note for Councillor Cody, the labor report. When you're ready, please.
Thank you, Mayor. The labor report, get rid of my vote here on the screen. The labor report as of week 30. Council is provided with a summary of labor costs for public works, parks, exploits regional water services, and the fire hall up to week 30 of 2025. Labor costs as of week 30 are presented to council for their information. The annual budget is broken down to expected costs by week and compared to actual costs throughout the year. At the end of week 30, total labor costs were $2,291,012, which is $140,057 or 5.76% under the budget of $2,431,069. Key implications and considerations. The budget, the labor report is used to aid management in discussions such as layoff, recall, and use of overtime. Maintaining the budget for labor is crucial to the operations of the town as it represents a significant portion of the overall budget. Management will continue to monitor labor costs for 2025 to ensure it is within budget.
Nice to hear that at this time of year, that we're under budget still. Any other discussion on the labor report? Councillor Cody, yeah, go ahead.
It's just great the amount of work that we see happening around the community, and to be under budget is obviously great, especially with the wonderful hot summer that we had and the amount of vacation time that normally happens. Our staff directors have been diligent in their planning, making sure that they have additional employees in place and on-call employees to mitigate the costs that are incurred with overtime when we have people going off on vacation time and things like that. So I want to recognize their efforts in making sure that, we manage that and have employees in place to cover where is necessary. And the amount of work, again, that's being done, being able to schedule and plan and work that all out ahead of time. So still a fair amount of decent weather left before we get into winter months and snow and whatnot, and still quite a bit of work left to do, some paving and things like that. So I look forward to that happening, and again, we'll continue to monitor the labor budget as it moves forward.
Yeah, the town, I guess the checklist for things to do is a never-ending one, of course. But also, I think you mentioned the weather there, and it's important to to acknowledge the employees who worked outside this summer as well, sometimes in very, very extreme heat, in 30s and even up to 40 a couple of times, I think. So I know it's uncomfortable being out in that, let alone working in that. So hats off to the employees for their efforts there, for sure. We know it was difficult. Okay, any other comments? No? Okay, we'll move on to Protective Services, Municipal Enforcement and Fire Department. And the first information note is 11.1, the Fire Department Incident Response Report, Q2. Councillor Knoll, when you're ready, please.
Thank you, Mayor. This is information regarding the Fire Department incident response for the second quarter. It says an overview of Fire Department incident activity and trends of the period April 1st to June 30th, 2025, based on operational reports. So the Grand Falls-Windsor Fire Department responded to 64 incidents during the second quarter of 2025. This represents a steady operational demand consistent with prior years. The types of responses were diverse and included such things as structure fires, alarm activations, investigations, rescues, utility hazards, vehicle collisions, and public service calls. Incident data was compiled from the Fire Department's detailed incident list by type and the list of incidents summary reports. Breakdown of some of the information. In April, there were 22 calls, 11 alarm activations, 2 investigations, 2 utility poles with wires down, 1 dumpster fire, residential structure fire, 2 chimney fires, 1 vehicle fire, 1 motor vehicle collision, and 1 public service call. In May, again, another 20 calls, included 5 alarm activations, 2 residential structure fires, 1 utility pole fire, 4 brush fires, another dumpster fire, 1 chimney fire, 2 investigations such as smoke and odor, and 1 rescue within confined space, motor vehicle collision, and 1 agency assist. In June, another 22 calls, included 6 alarm activations, 3 investigations such as smoke and odor, 4 residential structure fires, 1 vehicle fire, 3 brush fires, another utility pole fire, 4 motor vehicle collisions, 1 involving an entrapment of a person, and a mutual aid response with 1 other agency. In conclusion, says the Grand Falls-Windsor Fire Department continued to maintain a strong and reliable emergency response throughout the second quarter. Focus will remain on data tracking, multi-agency coordination, and readiness as the department moves into the second half of 2025. I just like to say, Mayor, when you're doing 22 calls a month, that's almost 1 every day that we depend upon our fire department here in Grand Falls-Windsor. A volunteer department at that. Yes. Thanks.
Yeah, no, it's, and the response time of around 6 minutes is impressive, to say the least. When you hear some, sad stories about the response times in other communities and sometimes in this area as well. Seeing that our fire department is so quick to, get to the fire hall and then get to a call is amazing, really. And, we've said it many times, but you can't say it enough, really, how valuable of a service that our fire department provides for our community. It is absolutely essential, and where will we be without them? We talk about it all the time, so thanks to all the fire department members. We've got a great crew, and because of that is why we continue to function at a high success rate, I guess, if you can call it that. Any other comments on the fire department? No? Okay. We'll move on now to the municipal enforcement activity report for Q1 and Q2. Councillor Knoll, when you're ready.
Thank you, Mayor. Once again, this is a report of our police activities. The report provides an overview of the Grand Falls-Windsor Municipal Police Bylaw enforcement activities for the first 2 quarters of 2025, including incident statistics, bylaw infractions, community engagement efforts, and notable incidents and future priorities. The total incidents reported 451 versus 380 in 2024. Total reported traffic violations 74 versus 212 in 2024. And number of warnings issued 119 in 2025 versus 182 in 2024. some of the breakdown, I don't know if we go down to them all, I mean, there's this huge list there, but a couple of interest to me were the anti-litter complaints. They're up significantly, which is nice to see that people are taking an interest in maintaining a very clean Grand Falls-Windsor and surrounding areas. And I know that in speaking with some of the MEOs, we were successful in finding some of the people who decided to leave garbage in unwanted areas. It was nice to see as well. But I will mention again, the motor vehicle collisions are up. And that's a sad thing, Mayor, especially I know that we've got some engineering work going on Tulit Drive for another roundabout. And just frequenting that part of town numerous, I mean, I've been there when these accidents occurred, and it's just sad to see that they are on the increase. If I could take a second, on the way this evening, I stopped to let a person on a quad use the crosswalk on Hardy Avenue, and this person in a big black new pickup was tight to my tailgate, shall we say. That's the right terms that I could use in this. And they pulled out to go around me and not watching. I almost took the little kid on the quad out, right? This is sad that these people are in so much of a hurry. I just hate to see that those numbers of collisions continue to rise, Mayor. It's not a good statistic. Hopefully that people will learn to take their time a little bit better. But I will mention as well, they're the funeral escorts. Having been to, sadly, numerous funerals recently, but it's nice to see the MEOs involved in that to maintain the flow of traffic through the lights up by the graveyard. Because nobody wants to be in the funeral parade, if that's the right procession, is the correct term, I guess, and then to get cut off in amongst the red light or yellow light and lose part of the funeral activity. So it's great that we support our MEOs in that activity to help everybody function through those little darker times, Mayor, right? If I could read a little further, it says they conducted 22 police community relations, such as flag raising, ceremonies, parades, neighborhood meetings, and school visits, which is an important part of the MEO's job as well, is to get into the school, so let them know what they do, right? Conducted 50 assistance to the public requests, again, such as information requests, traffic control, such as the funerals, made a little note, animal control and transport, and other activities, right? So in conclusion, to say this report covers some of the municipal police activities for the first half of 2025. Moving forward, the unit, and until the unit is fully staffed, we get that point in. The department will focus calls for service on a priority basis. Patrols conducted will be directed based on call volume, and regular security checks for municipal priorities or properties will continue, Mayor. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thanks for that. Again, important to recognize our staff in what they do. I think sometimes it's one of the most misunderstood positions with the town. But they do great work, and they got a lot to do, and it's not an easy job, of course. So for them, being able to spread themselves thin, and I don't believe you mentioned, but also they help other agencies such as the RCMP often with traffic control. If there's an accident, they will help out at scene, and if anything is going on with the town departmental work that requires assistance, they will be there as well. It's just, they don't have the authority, nor do we want them out there fighting crime. It's just not a part of who our municipal enforcement officers are. They're not trained in that regard. It's not intended to be that way. However, they certainly will report any activity that they see, and even maybe hold some people over on stops if need be until the RCMP were to arrive if they feel that it's necessary to do so. So great work by our MEOs, and thanks for the report. Any other comments on that? No? Okay, we'll move on. We don't have any advisory committee information or external committees, so we'll move into other business. I'm not sure who's up first tonight. Is it over here somewhere? Councillor Cody's up first? Okay, we'll go with that. Councillor Cody,
When you're ready.
Thank you. So, it's Labor Day weekend. It's unbelievable, really. I don't know. Time flies when you're having fun. So I just wanted to remind motorists around our community that it's back to school time. I know people aren't ready to hear that, but that's the reality. So please be extra cautious in school zones, in daycare areas, and well, everywhere around town, really. Kids are still in summer mode. They might not be paying attention to what they're doing, where they're going, hopping off the bus, running out in front of the bus. Make sure that, you know, you're paying attention to the buses. Do not pass when the red lights are flashing. I know there's an initiative that's just been announced where there's going to be cameras on some of school buses in designated communities. So, you know, the people are really serious about this. People just need to slow down, put your phones down, pay attention to what you're doing, and just make sure that all the children are safe getting back to school. It's been a great summer of summer programs, you know, all of the sports programs, tennis, baseball, soccer, everything else that's been going on, golf, junior golf programs, quarter work summer camps, Y2C summer camps. You just got to scroll down Facebook and you can see like how many things have been happening in Grand Falls-Windsor over the summer. So, you know, it's been lovely that way, that, you know, we see so many things happening and so many offerings. Wasn't that long ago, when we were in school, it was long ago, but I'll pretend it's not. You got out of school in June and you bummed around the street till September. Like, that's it. You played Red Rover or you played Spotlight or whatever. We didn't have summer camps to go to. We didn't have, you know, the Mary March Museum offering summer programs and all the great things that are happening. So pleased to see that that is going on to keep our children not just busy, but also providing them with learning opportunities and social activities that they can be a part of. It was a great summer, hot summer, great weather, but you couldn't enjoy it really with the threat of fires and actual fires. We had a post on our Facebook page on the Grand Falls-Windsor Fire Department and the Exploits Search and Rescue and the tremendous work that they have done, not just assisting in our own area, but also traveling to other areas of the province to provide assistance and give their skills and knowledge. It started with the fire in Badger. We were the evacuation location for that fire. The Salvation Army and the Canadian Red Cross, community people offering places to stay for people who had to evacuate, and just, you know, being on alert constantly all summer. So hopefully, you know, that's starting to wind down. It seems like a lot of the areas now are given the clear to go back to your home or cabins. Still a lot of areas who are experiencing, you know, not being able to get back to their homes and not even having homes to go back to, which is extremely sad and devastating, and we certainly send our thoughts out to all of them. But we're not out of the woods yet. You know, the provincial fire ban is still on, so that means, you know, no backyard fires, no fires anywhere. Please don't be flicking your cigarette butts out your car windows. We've seen so many instances of that this summer where you know it was a cigarette butt. Like, it was just in the area that it happened. It couldn't have been anything else under only a cigarette butt flicked out a window, especially the one there on the TCH there between Grand Falls-Windsor and Bishop's Falls, that stretch of grass right in the middle of the divided highway. I mean, you know it was a cigarette butt. So just please, I mean, if you are going to smoke in your vehicle, have a butt container or something in there, and take care of it properly. Don't just flick it out the window. Not only is it a fire hazard, it's also littering, so we certainly don't want any of that. I guess the last thing for me is the elections. It's going to be a busy fall. We expect a provincial election call any day. And we also have our municipal elections coming up on October 2nd. Nomination day was announced today. For Grand Falls-Windsor, it's going to be September 8th. So anyone planning to run for council is asked to reach out to Kara here at the town hall to set an appointment time. And that's the other hat that I wear with municipalities, Newfoundland and Labrador, is to promote the Make Your Mark campaign. And the campaign this year is You for Council. So, you know, the You for Council is encouraging individuals to run for council, but it's also encouraging individuals who don't want to run for council but have an interest to volunteer on somebody's campaign, but most importantly to vote. Make sure you do cast your ballot. We'll continue to keep our residents informed as to the location of advanced polling stations and dates and times, as well as polling stations for October 2nd. I've been doing this now for 16 years, and my plan is to keep going. Of course, it's up to the residents of Grand Falls-Windsor to make that decision, but I will absolutely be offering myself again in the election. And it's been an absolute pleasure. I said that the last 3 terms as well. When that 4 years rolls around, it goes quickly. But it's an opportunity. Every day is a learning opportunity. And like I said, even after 16 years, I still enjoy coming here. Every time I have to come here, I say every day, because sometimes it feels like every day. But it's not every day. But there's always work to be done every day. There's emails every day. There's phone calls every day. So, you know, it's a volunteer position, so to speak, for a lot of people. But it's a lot of work as well. And it's work that I enjoy and plan to continue, like I said. So to all of the staff who've been so supportive and so easy to work with, fingers crossed, October 2nd, I'll be back again. And we'll see how it goes. But anyway, thank you to fellow councillors as well for making this term so enjoyable. And please God, we'll see you all around here again.
Thank you, Councillor Cody. Councillor Knoll.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple items on my little list this evening. It's always nice to drive around town and see the sidewalks clear for those people who rely upon the sidewalk for travel. But I still noticed there was a couple of basketball nets around, so I'll ask a few MEOs to check those out. They were only on one street, surprised though, which is down significantly from the routes I tend to travel in around town. So the past 4 years, you know, through continued advocacy, I guess, you know, our sidewalks are more available and usable for those that depend upon them every day. So it's nice to see. But having said that, a little discussion earlier about the quads and dirt bikes, and you know, I interact with a lot of those people every day, and I just want, you know, to remind the moms and dads, you know, of the regulations about quads and side-by-sides and dirt bikes, etc. And here in town, and we do encourage the use to get from point A to point B, not to travel around town all day in your quad, side-by-side, or dirt bike, especially on your back tire. And why it struck a note with me, because I did stop to let a young guy on a dirt bike cross Tualette recently. I gave him a little head fake, flicked the lights and stopped traffic. And the little guy, when he got on the side road, hit the gravel, what did the person do but pinned it and buried my car in rocks, right? So I wanted to say thank you, and I knew I wasn't going to catch him if I had a water balloon to throw at him at the time. But moms, dads, have that little discussion with your child about the respect thing, right? It's huge. Talked about school, you know, that time of year again. I implore moms and dads, grandparents, to talk to your child before they go to school about equality and the lack thereof many times within the school. And many children may not have exactly what child A or child B has, and to think about them before they really say something stupid and make them feel bad, because we want kids to stay in school. So whatever we can do to encourage that. And keeping that in mind, if you're watching this evening and you say, well, maybe I'd like to help and not sure what to do, the Y2C has a tremendous program on the go right now, and you can make a difference by just swinging by, stop in, and if you could afford a $20 bill, a $10 bill, a $5 bill, it all goes to a great cause where they will supply children, with the necessities to get to school, to help start them off on the right track with what I call scribblers. I mean, 3-ring binders, I guess the right name, scribblers, pencils and pens, etc. They'll fill a backpack for child C and D. So I encourage moms and dads, residents to avail of that and to help make it better for a child that may not have everything that child A and child B has. Lastly, I want to say thanks to the summer crew here in Grand Falls-Windsor. And I've had the fortune of working in a lot of places around the island all summer long, as attested by the number of kilometers on the truck. But wherever I go, I'm always cognizant of how these communities work. And I'd like to say that our pothole crew, our concrete crew, our green space crews are top-notch. And I would say that wholeheartedly, not just here, but I mean, I've said it to their faces several times this summer, because I see what goes on in other places. My God, we never gonna have this in Grand Falls-Windsor, because we try to keep those places, our roads, our curbs, in great shape. So I just want to say hats off to those involved. It's not every day you get a little pat on the back, but it's nice just for someone to recognize the work that goes into making Grand Falls-Windsor a little easier on your front end, on your pickup and truck, a little easier to walk with a stub in your toe, and much nicer to drive around and see with the green spaces in our community. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Hiscock.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few items. One is this past weekend, the Rally in the Valley. Trevor Davis and his crew put off a fabulous show. It was a beautiful day, vendors, kids, what a crowd when I was there. And our own deputy mayor volunteered for the dunk tank, and you got a lot of nerve. That water was cold. So anyhow, but it was just a great job. Our senior wellness show, Joe Burns Stadium, doors open at 10. That's on September the 23rd, Tuesday. There's going to be a lot of vendors. Last year we had over 800 people go through. This year it's going to be bigger and even better again. Snacks from Sobeys, Tim Hortons Coffee Bar, and that's going to be there, entertainment. So we'd advise people to come out from all over the place, come on and have a great day. Also, Friday the 26th and Saturday the 27th September, Grand Toyota Perfectly Centered ATV Poutine Festival is going ahead, and that's a great time. We've taken in the ride a few times. It's just a great day. So I advise people to come out for that. It's going to be good. Also, Mr. Mayor, going on now, Dairy Queen and Grand Falls-Windsor Fire Rescue have a fundraiser for the Youth Firefighter Program. $1 from every Blizzard and double bacon cheeseburger go to this great program. And also we're going to have the firefighters, and a fire truck will be there from 12 to 2 and from 5 till 8. So get out, and it's a worthwhile cause. Everybody knows our Youth Firefighter Program is absolutely phenomenal. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Hiscock. Councillor Little.
Thank you, Mayor. Hearing Councillor Cody and Councillor Noel talk about school, we'll shiver. I think Holly shivered too, I think. Or Councillor Dwyer sort of shivered too. But yeah, Councillor Cody made some good points about the buses and those cameras. We need those as soon as possible, because that is an ongoing issue in every community. People are passing those buses with those signs out, so that's a weird one, but people do it. So we've had some community-wide discolored water lately, and it's mostly attributed to our mainline water inspection that's been going on. Part of $7 million of fully funded upgrades that we've been taking on for our water supply. And thanks goes out to Chad Clendenning for securing that, of course, and our director as well, Nelson Chapman. They work hard on those applications. I know Chad and Nelson have applied for those. Well, this is my 4th year, and we finally got it. So it's been 4 years of them applying for those and getting no results, and them sticking with it. And so now we got $7 million of fully funded upgrades coming, which includes that inspection that we're getting right now, which is huge for us, because that's I can't remember the number exactly, but it's about $1.5 million inspection that allows us to identify these problems before they become too bad and results in a catastrophic failure, right? So that's a really good one. Our orthophosphate system, we're hoping, is going to be online by November. The research that was presented to us, and our director would know more, but the research presented to us tells us that that is going to make a difference with discolored water in our town. That is supposed to, after November when it comes online, over an introductory 3-month period of a higher dose of the chemical, it's supposed to provide a protection, a layer inside the pipe that protects the pipe from the iron leaching process that's happening, and it's supposed to make a difference. So, fingers crossed, time will tell. It's been used in other communities, Truro, Nova Scotia is one that comes to mind, and it was very effective there. So we're hoping it's going to be effective for us. Thomas Amusements is in town. Starts tomorrow, and goes until Sunday. So hopefully people get out and support that. That's one thing that's been coming here for a very, very long time, and it's been a mainstay. It's happening at Centennial Field again this year, which is a great location for it. We have a lot of parking there, and nice grass for everyone to be on, instead of the rocky dirt area we had it in the past. So hopefully people will go and support that. And finally, there's a AAA hockey game Friday, August 29th at 6 p.m. at the Windsor Stadium. It's the first hockey game of the year. It's an exhibition game. It's the Impact. I believe they're playing Western. You want to see some hockey players in the future, that's the place to go. A lot of Grand Falls-Windsor young people are going to be highlighted on that team. And, you know, that program, the Impact Hockey, it's a private program, but it supports our community in a lot of ways. It brings a lot of people in. My son's in a hockey camp right now, and half the people in that camp are not from here. They're here for a full week. They're shopping at our stores, they're eating at our restaurants, camping at Beathic Park, whatever. They're doing it, they're here. So that's one of the programs that's bringing people in. And it also supports all our young athletes as well that want to play hockey and do all those things. So hopefully people will go and support the Impact AAA team on Friday, October 29th at 6 p.m., like I said, at Windsor Stadium. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Little. Councillor Dwyer.
Thank you, Mayor. Sunday, I guess, was the closing ceremonies for Canada Games in St. John's, and we had 2 residents of Grand Falls-Windsor who participated. Nathan Luscombe was the flag bearer, and Carrie Russell, daughter of Heather Russell and Dennis Russell, she played in the inaugural women's baseball. And actually, Carrie is a catcher, and she caught the ball from Jada Lee, the first pitch, the ceremonial pitch that was thrown out. So I'm sure she'll never forget that moment and that experience. And congratulations to them for having represented us at the Canada Games. I'd like to extend congratulations to Dr. Cherian and his wife, celebrating 50-year anniversary this past week. Dr. Cherian is so well respected and loved. I was looking at a video that Gibbon had posted yesterday, and there were 2,000 views on that video, and I think it speaks to how well respected and how much love his community and his friends have for him. So we're very fortunate to have him as a pediatrician still working in our community, and thank you and congratulations to him. Our community garden had a barbecue this evening, and obviously they're doing some harvesting this time of year. It always looks so nice to visit and even to just drive by and to see all the green. And so thanks again to Wayne Thomas and his crew. I know they had 3 students out there this summer, and they had a good experience, and I'm sure they learned some things. So, you know, the food bank is obviously as members, we benefit from the community garden, but the food bank really does too, and they've already started harvesting for the food bank, so that's wonderful. Habitat for Humanity is something that I wanted to speak about because they have extended the application process, or if you go on the website, it's expression of interest. I think it's September the 5th. Does anyone know for sure? September the 5th? I think so, September the 5th. But it is an excellent program. We are very fortunate to have the opportunity here in Grand Falls-Windsor to partner with Habitat for Humanity And 2 families will have the opportunity to have a new home. And, you know, it may not be what you think. You do had to put in some sweat equity. It's not necessarily for people who can't afford to pay for a home, but can't necessarily afford to get it financed or have a down payment for a home. So it's a great opportunity for 2 families in Grand Falls-Windsor, and I would encourage you to, if you're interested, or if you know people who might be able to benefit from this program, to reach out to them. One last thing. We held the Grode McCarthy concert here this past month. It was a huge success, sold-out concert, and they were a beautiful family. Had the opportunity to meet them and to speak to all of them, really, but Grode's sister and mother came to Newfoundland. If anyone's familiar with them, it was a big surprise for them, and they continued on their tour, and they stayed here in Grand Falls-Windsor. And Grode and his wife and his son, his mother and his sister, who I've stayed in contact with, described Grand Falls-Windsor as being like a Hallmark movie, which was very nice to hear. And you know, I'm glad that they had such a wonderful experience, and that is what they're taking away with them. And so they promised to come back, which is excellent news. Thank you.
Just an anecdote to that, when I first talked to him on the morning I picked him up, he told me that when he was in St. John's, or where he had performed the night before, he said how friendly the people were, but he said a guy offered him a motorhome to go across the province, and he thought it was just small motorhome. I think it was like a 48 foot or something. So he had this huge motorhome that was basically given to him by someone to use. So he was excited about that, it seemed. Deputy Mayor.
Just a couple of things tonight, Mayor. Thank you. First of all, Monday's Labor Day. And in Grand Falls-Windsor, we're going to have a Labor Day parade. It starts at 10 a.m. from Main Street and finishes up here on High Street about 11 a.m. The morning start actually with the bicycle contest. So we got 2 categories of bicycle contest entries, under 7 and over 7. So there's nice cash prizes for anybody interested in decorating their bicycle and taking part in the parade. And then we'll get down on High Street. There'll be some Labour leaders there and some politicians, I guess, and they'll give a few speeches. Ron Smith is the chair of the Labour Day Committee this year, again, and had us meeting back in April to ensure we're all ready to go, and we are. This year's patron is Dave Grimes, who was a big union Labour leader, not only in Grand Falls-Windsor, but throughout the island, and a great community person as well. And we all know Dave is in terrible health now, to be honest with you, and just wanted to know we're all thinking about him. And after festivities on High Street, we're all going to Church Road Park. There's free entertainment, popcorn and water for the kids. The bouncy castles will be there. So just a great, great Labour Day plan for Grand Falls-Windsor. And if I'm not mistaken, Grand Falls-Windsor is the only community east of Montreal that has an actual Labour Day parade, and still has one. I think it's 107 years, is it, Councillor Hiscock? And a Labour Day parade each year. So something to be proud of, and something that's important to the town. The town of Grand Falls-Windsor, of course, was with the start of the labour movement in Grand Falls-Windsor. Pretty well started here with the Loggers Union, etc. So nice to see that tradition continue. And secondly, Mr. Mayor, I attended a session yesterday on composting in Grand Falls-Windsor. Kellyanne Sheridan and Aidan Sheridan were with the Conservation Corps of Newfoundland and Labrador and worked as Green Team members here in Grand Falls-Windsor in conjunction with the Community Services Department and the Community Garden. So they did a brief history on composting in Grand Falls-Windsor, where it started, where it is, and what they recommend where it should go. So just a tremendous session. People from the Community Garden were there as well to see the session, and very well done by Kellyanne and Aidan Sheridan. I say great job. And we're better off for them working for the town of Grand Falls-Windsor this summer, and they passed on some good tips to the Community Services Department and where we should be going with composting. So thank you, Aidan and Kellyanne, and that's it for me, Mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You know, Kellyanne and Eden are no stranger to Chamber here. They used to come and pick up their check every year for the Christmas light up contest, and they do a great job Halloween as well. So it's good to hear that they're still contributing in that way. A lot of the things I was going to mention are already spoken about. Obviously, you know, just to reiterate the driving people to be careful, not only school buses, but crosswalks I find as well. We got the flashing lights in a lot of the busiest crosswalks in town, and sometimes you still see people just zoom on by, even with the lights flashing. Now, no doubt that they can be missed as well, and not on purpose, but at the same time, you got to be aware that they exist there. So when you're driving past those areas, be aware as you're going, because we do have a lot of people, obviously, that get around town by foot or by, you know, a wheelchair or other modes of transportation that need that. And, you know, it's easy to go on a rant about that stuff, but I mean, to see the number of people who speed alone is just crazy, the speeds that people are going here and down. And, you know, it's no matter what you do as a government or anything else, you know, it's always up to the driver at the end of the day to be the responsible one, right? And so, again, I'd ask people to keep that in mind, especially with the kids going back to school. And just like to say good luck to all the university students who are also heading back to school now to outside the province as well as inside the province, community colleges, that kind of stuff. Exciting times for a lot of people. Search and rescue, you know, we talked about the fire department and MEO, and I'm glad the search and rescue came up a couple times probably because, you know, the job that they do is amazing. And again, get a volunteer group there. They actually sent members out to Kingston, where the major fires were, along with 4 of our firefighters as well. A crew went out to help in the firefighting efforts, but you know, we hope that we can have something in the near future that would recognize the search and rescue and the great work they do. And I'm sure the other agencies would be involved as well, but I thought it was important to point that out. With regards to all the things that are going on, you know, town programs, events, we often have, we've got things all year round. So I just encourage people, like if you're interested in town events, that you check out the Facebook page to see what's coming up, or call the department at 0450, and they'll be glad to give you information on upcoming activities. Watch for the mail-outs that come in the mail that lists a lot of the activities that go on, or, you know, all the programs that are offered here. There's so many, and opportunities for everyone really to be active. So if you want information, try to, you know, reach out and get on top of it. The McCarthy concert, Road, and remember we all wondered about pronouncing his name, right? Because it's spelled like Gearoid. So, but Holly had said to me, Councillor Dwyer said to me that it's like growed up. So every time I was talking to him, that's all I could think about was growed up. And but it was amazing, like when I walked out on stage at the beginning of that night, like it was surreal really, because it was like a rock concert. The people in the front there were screaming and yelling, and, you know, couldn't wait for him to take the stage. I didn't say who I was because, you know, I was afraid of the reaction. I just announced Grode and got off stage again. But it was awesome. It really was. And a lot of people enjoyed it. And I know that we've already been talking to him about hopeful that he will be back again next year, and that perhaps we can have him in an outdoor setting, which would be great as well, if that's possible, because he certainly is popular. The Labor Day activities, yeah, well, Deputy Mayor Brown really mentioned that, but, you know, it's really a spectacle, right? In Grand Falls-Windsor, the Labor Day Parade. And like Deputy Mayor said, I mean, there's no other place really that still celebrates Labor Day, yet here, it seems it continues to get stronger, and it's thanks to, you know, people, particularly at the Heritage Society, Ron Smith and others, and Deputy Mayor's been involved in that now for many years as well. But I'm sure, I hope the weather cooperates, because I'm sure that the streets will be lined with people once again, and especially kids and that who are there to watch the parade. I know that it'll be an impressive parade again in terms of participation in that. And then to get downtown and, you know, have our little event on High Street is great as well. So if you haven't, you know, I know a lot of people, maybe Labor Day weekend, that you're going out of town, right? But maybe even think about coming back a little bit early, and if you haven't been to a Labor Day parade before, or if you haven't been to a Labor Day parade in a while, it's worth your while to come out and enjoy it, because it's really been something else in the last few years, and I'd encourage anybody to do it. Just want to mention, Councillor Little mentioned the water discoloration and that. And you know, the orthophosphate you mentioned is something that we certainly expect that will make improvements. You know, I've talked to a lot of people as well who've been having issues, and of course we've been dealing with this or wrestling with this or struggling with this or whatever you want to call it for the last number of years. And it's frustrating for council as well, as everybody here knows, because we want these issues to be resolved, but they're not easy issues to fix in many cases. And we have been investing heavily into infrastructure, the water treatment plant. Of course, when the water leaves the plant, it's near pristine. And when it gets into the system and the old infrastructure, and that sometimes problems occur. And we have had professionals come in and assess the water system. We have taken their recommendations and acted on some of those already, including installing additional flushing valves around town. The inspection that's being done is being done by what they call a ball of some sort. What is it? Smart ball. Hard to remember for someone like me. So it's a smart ball, but you know, technology allows you to be able to do that. And these water issues are so complicated that sometimes there's no rhyme or reason to what's going on. You may have one person that's got discolored water, their neighbor's water is fine, and then the next door after that is dirty again. And obviously you look in people's own lines and see if it's coming within and that, but I know staff and council have spent a lot of time and money on trying to fix this issue. But the reality is, of course, with the cost of heavy projects and replacing aging infrastructure like water and sewer infrastructure, it's so expensive to do that it has to be done gradually. And there's no way we could ever afford to replace everything that we would like to replace now, or maybe needs to be at different levels. So you try to prioritize and move forward. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is that, you know, we have been making efforts, and we sympathize with people because it has a real impact on lives. I mean, we know it. I know that because I've told you, I'm one of those people that got problems. But when people are sporadically having discolored water and they're frustrated and their hot water tanks are being ruined, or they're getting rings around their bathtub, and you know, we're doing everything we can to try to rectify that, but it's really a difficult challenge, but we've been doing as much as we can, and I know staff have also been doing, because they've heard council for a long time tell them how badly we want this to be rectified. And sometimes trying to fix an issue may just push the issue down the road. Someone who wasn't having water issues all of a sudden got dirty water when they hadn't had it for 10 years, and another person who just had it for a couple of years was clean as a bell. So anyhow, enough on that. Municipal elections coming up, as Councillor Cody said, I'd encourage everybody to come out and run, you know, and It is a rewarding experience for sure. It's also a challenge, of course. But it's something that I don't think you'd regret if you did. And, you know, everybody should have a say and should put their voice in there, you know, if they wish to help the community. And I look forward to seeing, you know, the candidates in that for the election. Of course, I won't be seeking re-election, as people here know. I made up my mind on that quite a while ago, but hadn't really said anything about it. So, you know, for me, it's weird being here tonight knowing that this may be a last meeting for me. I actually wore the same shirt that I had on 12 years ago. So at least the shirt aged well. But, you know, it's been a pleasure, and I just want to thank everybody and all the staff and all the citizens of Grand Falls-Windsor for your support and everything that they've said and done over the years. I think, you know, objectively, everybody knows that town councilors come into this because they love their town, right? And we all do here, and anybody who comes in, I'm sure, will as well. But just get out and run, you know, because it's been a very much pleasure for me. And I'm sure you're going to miss me. Yes. Joking, of course, but anyhow, I just wanted to let everybody know that I won't be seeking re-election, and I'd encourage everybody to come out and offer yourself, which the nomination day is September 8th? September the 8th. And the election's on October 2nd, and I think the advance voting is usually 10 days prior? Around that? There's an advance poll as well, you know, and so, of course, I'd end it by saying, and I tell my kids this all the time, because sometimes they say, I'm not going to vote, and I say, get out there and vote, like, and I don't mean municipal, I mean for everything, because, you know, we talk about the Legion and the people who gave their lives for people in this country to be able to have the freedom to have a say and a vote. So get out and vote. Municipal, federal, provincial, whatever, school board, you know, whatever it is, because it's important to do so, because a lot of people suffered greatly and lost their lives to give us that right to do it. So anyways, I don't have anything else. If anybody else got any closing comments, they can. If not, yeah, go ahead, Councillor.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, the Deputy Mayor alluded to the Labor Day Parade. I just want to let people know, get out, decorate a float, like, you know, organizations, businesses, whatever. First place prize, $500. Second is $300. And even for the bicycles, $100, $75, and $50. And best ATV. So, I mean, get out and have some fun. It's going to be a fabulous day.
Sir.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I will now call for a motion to adjourn. Councillor Dwyer, seconded by Councillor Little. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, see you next time.